Hey everybody, so today what I've got to talk about is a battery charger that I got off Amazon for 18650 batteries, but it'll charge multiple different sizes. So we're going to talk about that today. I can't remember the name. XTAR VC4 I think is the name of the charger. It was like 30 bucks. Charges 4 batteries, got a neat little display. Let's go look at it. Alright, so here's the charger. I said VCS4, I think it's VC4S. So it charges several different sizes. The list of sizes, let's see what it's got here. One of the problems is the print on the instructions is so small I can't hardly read it. I don't even know if that'll come in. Yeah, whatever. So it looks like anywhere from 10440 all the way up to, so everything from 10440, which I mean, that's pretty small. The smallest battery I have is like a CR123, which is 16340 I think. Alright, so 10440 all the way up to 32650. That's a pretty good size battery. The biggest battery I have is a 21700. Most of the batteries I use are 18650s. And alright, so let's talk about the charger. So I got it on Amazon. I think it was 35 bucks. I am a Prime member, so free shipping. Now it is a USB, it was a micro USB charge port, as you can see right here. So one advantage to that, if you wanted to be portable, you could have a power pack like this and you could plug it in and charge it that way. It would be slower, and with 4 batteries in, it's already pretty slow. It comes with a USB power block. It's a 3 amp block. And so what you'll see is if we go to the different modes, so capacity, current. Alright, so these particular numbers that are down here blinking are showing you the current charge rate. Now this battery is coming to the end of its charge cycle, so it's basically full. That's why our rate's varying. Here, this battery is already full, and this one are charging at 900 milliamps a piece. So what it's doing is it's sharing the maximum available current from the outlet, which is 3 amps. It's sharing that between all 4 batteries. In this case, because this one is full, it's between all 3 batteries. This one's almost full, so it is adjusting the current and now starting to charge at a higher constant voltage rate. So the screen goes dim after it sits for a while. You just touch a button, it comes back. Let's look at some of our modes here. So this is current mode. So the current mode is showing you your amount of current that's being pumped into your battery at the moment. Hit the button over here on the left, internal resistance. And most people don't understand internal resistance. And then we have total capacity. Now I've already unplugged it and been messing around with it, but you know, these were up around 2500, 2700 milliamps earlier. You know, these chargers don't have a way to know what is in the battery currently, really. They only can tell you how much they've put in it. So it has to meter that. It's, you know, it's basically going through a meter, almost like water through a paddle wheel or something like that. And that's how it knows what's in there. So whenever you unplug it or remove power, take a battery out and put it back in, you lose track of where you were at. You can't measure it anymore. Over here, you've got your different charging options over here on the right. So right now, we can move it to what they call grading. I think most of us here in, I don't know if it's America or over the world, you're used to seeing that as cycle or charge, discharge. So in this particular mode, as you can see, this battery was full, and what do you see now? It's starting to measure the current that's leaving the battery. It's currently discharging this battery that was full. Now what it does, and just change the, just in your head, don't say grading and say cycle. You put your batteries in here, it makes them fully charged, then it cycles them, it discharges them, and then it will recharge them back to full and stop. It'll leave them there. So you can start with a fresh slate that way, you know, fully cycle a battery. It's not a bad thing to do from time to time if you're really trying to take care of your batteries. And then finally, you have storage mode. So if you don't know, lithium batteries do not like to be stored at 100% charge. Storing a lithium battery at full charge reduces, if they have sort of a memory, like it reduces their maximum capacity, their performance. Just to break it down, generally speaking, their performance is degraded whenever you leave a lithium battery fully charged. So lithium batteries should not be stored at over 80% of their charge. And that's sort of the textbook statement. I think the general sort of conventional wisdom that's been accepted by and large is that really they should be stored at 70%. However, this charger, according to the information that I found, puts a storage charge on them of 80%, which is fine. I mean, it's better than nothing. So this charger, well, before I go into that, I'll show you here on this little diagram. What it's showing you is with this little blue needle down here, it's showing you the amount of current that's currently being pumped in the battery. So, you know, if you changed your screen to resistance or capacity, well, and you still wanted to know roughly what your supplied current was, well, you can see it on that needle. And then this dial up here is showing you that individual cell's voltage. So lithium batteries, I think it's important to mention this. One, it'll make this make sense, and two, this charger is stated to be a nickel metal hydride / lithium battery charger. Now, I couldn't find a lithium battery or a nickel metal hydride battery around here. I don't use them. But what I wanted to do was put one in and see if that switches from lithium ion to nickel metal hydride. Because nickel metal hydride and lithium batteries do not charge the same way. Lithium batteries charge at a constant current and a constant voltage. And then what happens is that voltage will be rather small in the beginning. Sorry, I was getting a text. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so lithium batteries charge at a constant current, constant voltage state, and then once they reach their peak voltage, it'll just maintain that voltage, but it'll reduce the current. So it's shoving current in there as hard and as fast as it can, sort of. I mean, some chargers you can adjust your current charge rate, but typically 1C, so 1 times the capacity. Move the decimal a little bit. I'm getting off in the weeds here, but so constant current, constant voltage until the battery hits its peak, and then it will vary the current. The nickel metal hydride batteries will charge at a constant current, but at a varying voltage. So it varies the voltage throughout its charge range, and lithium batteries don't do that. Lithium batteries are very sensitive. They're very, what I would say, they're very emotional. So they don't like to be punctured. They don't like to be abused. They don't like to be overheated. They sag when it's really cold. They're just kind of bitchy, you know. So the reason why I wanted to see if this flipped was because I'm wondering if it does recognize the difference between the lithium battery and the nickel metal hydride battery. The technology is available. It's a very simple technology, and if you're building a charger like this, I would expect that it really does do that, because the only thing that it's really doing to determine whether or not it's a nickel metal hydride battery or a lithium battery is it's measuring the cell voltage. Lithium batteries have a nominal cell voltage of 3.7 volts per cell, and when you discharge a lithium battery, I mean, really, there's some varying information out there, but from my own experience with the radio controlled packs, which are not the same as these particular 18650 cells, but there are some things that are standard. I mean, I don't really think you should be looking at discharge voltages of below 3 volts, though by the book you could go down to 2.4 volts or whatever. So let's just say very bottom floor lithium battery discharged is 2.4 volts. Well, the nominal voltage for a nickel metal hydride is 1.2 volts. So it's very simple. When you put the battery in here, it does a voltage check. If it sees that it's below, probably I would say 3 volts, 2 volts. I don't know, let's just say 3 volts. And I only say that because when I look at this little graph, the lowest one I can read is 3 volts. So you put your battery in, it measures below 3 volts. It's going to probably just assume that it's a nickel metal hydride battery and switch the way that it charges it. There's another thing that has nothing to do with the charger, but we're on the subject of batteries and it is relevant. Let's go over here to internal resistance. So this fully charged battery is showing an internal resistance of 0. If you're wondering if your batteries suck or are starting to lose some of their life, they're aging, your internal resistance will be higher. And really the time that you want to take notice of that number is when it's fully discharged. And I would, for my RC packs and stuff like my high performance battery packs for my cars and, you know, airplanes and things like that, my number for those packs, an individual cell resistance, once I start seeing 200 milliamps, so 0.020, I'm watching it. I'm not really liking it. I might still use it, but you can start to see a degradation in the performance of a battery when it starts hitting around 0.20 and 0.020 and above. And another thing is that a lot of these battery packs will have 3 or 4 cells in the pack, and if you got one that's at like 0.025 and the rest of them are like 0.010, well, the one with the higher number is dragging the other ones down. I mean, it's going to make the pack hot. I mean, it's just going to start giving up at this point. So it's important to balance your packs and, you know, try not to charge and discharge them at rates higher than what they're rated for. So let's so this one is full, so we're going to go ahead and take it out. We're on the resistance setting. This battery right here, this little thing right here, is bad. This is a bad battery. It won't, you know, you put it in this flashlight, it won't light it up. So, it's going to say that it's charged. So there it says it's fully charged. It did its check, and we have a resistance of 0.190, 190 milliamps. That's high. That's a bad battery. I would say for an 18650 or a battery of this category, I would say anything over 50 is starting to go bad. That's a number I'd prefer not to see. I mean, here we have a full one of 23, and I'll bet you when it's fully discharged, I would be surprised if it goes even makes it 250. Here's our 21700 battery, and it's going to do a check. And it's not, there you go, 0.020. Now, when you first look at this, you don't really know, like, is this battery 70% charged? Or, I mean, where am I at here on this battery? Well, you can kind of get an idea because your voltage needle is showing you 3.5 volts. Knowing that an individual cell for a lithium-ion battery, regardless of its size, is 4.2 volts. And we don't peak out at 4.2 volts. We will never get there until this battery starts getting full. Remember, it's constant current, just slamming current in there, just pushing it in, packing it in, like packing gunpowder in a black powder rifle, you know. Once it starts getting full, well, then our voltage will start to go ahead and max out. So we know that we're at least, I would say, around the, well, it's really actually, I don't think you really can say, because it'll stay there until this gets full. So as the current's stacking up in here, it's going to keep reading 3.5 volts regardless of what our capacity is until we start hitting the full mark. So we just know that we still got a long ways to go. Now, whenever you put this thing in what they call grading mode, you put it in charge discharge mode, it'll run this batteries down to nothing, and then it'll start charging them. And when they're fully charged, you come back and look at them, and it will show you how much milliamperage, so how much capacity has been packed into those batteries, which is good information to have. And that's another telltale sign. If your internal resistance is going up and your battery's starting to go bad, let's say it's a 3000 milliamp hour rated battery and you're used to seeing it charge at 2700 milliamps, and now you're noticing it's only charging to a capacity of 2200 milliamps. Its capacity has fallen off because its internal resistance is messing things up. So, and don't be surprised if you got a brand new battery that's rated for 3000 milliamps, but you don't never see it put that much in there. These batteries cannot be discharged to completely zero. They actually don't like to be discharged at below 20%. So if you discharge it completely to zero, you might as well just throw it away. That's, but I mean, you really can't do that as long as you're using the battery properly, because there's circuitry involved that protects it, cuts it off before it gets to that point. Anyway, that's the XTAR VC4S charger, and I'm gonna go back to charge. I'm gonna let them bake. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.